Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to Meet the Expert. Today, we are going to fly all the way to New Zealand to meet Dr. Christine Clark. You're going to love her. You're going to love what she's doing. Welcome in, Dr. Christine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Casey. That's a lovely introduction.
Thank you. Well, you have been a nurse and you are doing amazing things in New Zealand for nurses internationally, but not just nurses, healthcare workers internationally. Kalandra, you're actually the founder. You are the one who founded this program, and we are so happy to hear what you have to say. Are you ready for my rapid questions? Are you ready? Are you ready?
You bet, but I might not answer them too rapidly, but I will try.
You can take your time and answer them. Okay, let's get started. So, your work is with the holistic aging care. So, what does holistic care of the age mean to you, Dr. Christine? And how does your program bring this philosophy into practice?
Well, I'm an old nurse. Yeah, I did my training a long time ago. And I remember the very first day of my training, we were given this poem, and it was called the Crabbed Old Woman poem. It's still around. And it starts off, it says, "What do you see, nurse, when you look at me? Do you see a little old woman, or do you see me?" And then it goes on to describe her life from being a little girl and adored by her parents and having brothers and sisters and getting married, and then her husband dying, and then her ending up being alone. And we give that out to every single student. I found it, after years, and when we developed Kalandra, and I found that poem, and that underpins everything we do. It's about understanding that person, responding to that person. What do they actually want? What do they need? And yes, we know these medical things they need,
Yes.
but what does that person need? Do they need a hug? Do they need you to sit with them and hold them while they cry? Do they need a massage? Do they need just their hands rubbed? Okay. Do they want their hair washed? And it doesn't matter if it's not the day it's scheduled.
Yes.
So this is what holistic care is. It is understanding the person.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, my second question to you is, with the World Health Organization projecting that all around the world, starting 2020, there was 1 billion men and women turning the age 60. And going towards 2050, that number is going to more than double to 2.1 billion people. And all around the world, we're hearing about nursing shortages. I want to ask you about the unique impact that will have not just on the nurses, but on the healthcare technicians and nursing assistants. So many times we leave them out of the conversation.
I did my doctorate years ago or not that long ago, on the role of the carer. And I looked at it internationally as well as obviously in New Zealand. And what we came up with was that they work in very much a blurred domain. That very few countries have regulations or anything to protect them. And so therefore their work just expands further and further and further into the nurse's role and into the physio's role and the divisional therapist role and everyone else. They have no parameters. And the less staff that are available, the less senior people are available, the more that role will expand. And it is incredibly dangerous for them and for the people they care for. And it's very unfair on them. To have a healthcare assistant giving morphine, walking around with it in their pockets, is just not good enough. But that is their reality. And they need extensive training and they need extensive support. And I know that during COVID in particular, employers didn't have the RNs. The care assistant was locked into facilities with them. There were no RNs. And so they developed video technology where they could at least access expert help via video or by phone. So they have that. But I think we're going to see more and more of this blued role. And I just hope that people come to appreciate just how complex that incredible role is. You know, they're not dealing with a person with one problem. They're not dealing with a person with dementia, which is complex enough. That person has probably got high blood pressure, probably got ulcers, could easily have had strokes, have cardiac conditions. That caregiver's role and the nurse's role in the aged care domain is the most complex, difficult role of any in the healthcare profession, and that is not recognised.
Oh, that's powerful. It's true. It's very true. So now that your program at Kalandra, it's very robust to empower the aides to provide that specialized care, whether it's mental health care support or dementia support. What are the key benefits of the training that you provide at Calandra? Not only improving the quality of care, but in creating career advancement and business revenue opportunities for aides around the world.
Well, you know, with increased knowledge, you get improved understanding. So therefore, the care will improve. And we've only got to look at dementia as an example of that. Or, you know, we were approached by our corrections or our jails here to provide courses in intellectual disabilities because they have more and more people in jail who have, who the jailers have difficulty in working with because they don't understand that they come in with fetal alcohol syndrome or they have Down's syndrome, which is affecting them, or all the other things that can, or they're extremely autistic. So by understanding you're improving care and improving the way you're able to work, those jailers now aren't as angry with them anymore, and so therefore they look after them a little bit better. It improves your ability to respond to a situation. So that's from the carer's point of view or whoever accesses this information. It broadens your work opportunities and your abilities. So the person who's working in aged care in China should be able to come and work in aged care in New Zealand. And certainly we are seeing that with people in the Philippines who are undertaking aged care courses with a little bit of upskilling, they can work in New Zealand. But from an employer's point of view, they can ethically offer an increased range of services. And I'm saying ethically because they offer them anyway, but their staff don't know what they're doing. So how about being able to market that you can ethically offer dementia care, palliative care, intellectual disabilities, respite care, you know, all the others. How about increasing your market opportunity by saying that you can offer massage for age, beauty therapy for age, you know, increasing your scope as an employer, as a business. It would be a very powerful marketing tool.
I when I hear this, I get so excited because I feel there's so much opportunity to adopt this, especially with an aging market. So some people have prepared to age well and they're looking for these services. This is amazing.
Exactly. Well, I certainly still want my facials and massages when, you know, I'm reaching this stage where I need care. So we need to
Absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely. I love this. I really do. Now, you are in New Zealand, but you want to have a global reach. So, by elevating, so from what I understand, the care of a nurse's aide or technician for age, it's very high. The level of care it's pretty high, a high standard compared to around the world. So, with your school, what impact do you think you will have globally in helping different regions elevate the care that they give to age ones as they come from all over the world to attend your school?
So I'm getting experience of Asia at the moment, and I've been very privileged to go into some of the care homes and facilities in Vietnam, China, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, a few others. And, it is a privilege to be allowed to do that, and a lot of places don't want you to see what they're doing, and it's for a reason. I visited a place in Vietnam, which is a training centre with the care centre. And the first room I walked into was about 30 beds. It was quite dim, and the beds, so this was a very, very hot environment. It was Vietnam. The beds were covered in plastic. There was no sheets, and it was like just skeletons on these beds. Now, they were clean. They'd been given the very basics of life and of dying. They were clean. These people were palliative. There was one caregiver to about 30 of them. There were no sheets over them. They all had some form of covering pajamas. There was no privacy. There were no screens available. There was nothing. They were literally skeletons. They were starving to death by the looks of it. There was no smell in the room. So therefore, the very basics of care had occurred. And I stood there and I actually got quite distressed, thinking that in New Zealand, we give aromatherapy, we will give massages to the skin, we will make sure that person knows that they are loved, they are usually in a room by themselves, they usually have their family around them. And if they don't have their family, they'll have carers around them. And I was heartbroken to think that someone's parent was lying there and they had no one caring. And I guess that's what Kalandra is all about. It is that caring. It is not providing a task, though, yes, of course we do that, but it's caring that goes with the task. And I really got, as I said, quite distressed by this because it showed that a lot of Asia is about 50 years or even more behind New Zealand. And we need to so quickly elevate that level of knowledge and understanding and respect and recognition of these older people and of the carers that look after them. And, that is what Kalandra is really trying to do. We're trying to help work with organisations. We're not criticising them. We were there, but we're trying to work with them so that caring comes about, so that the mums and the dads are looked after as we would want.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, we're hoping to achieve a really global impact by providing really good training.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Now, as some people might be listening in because this is on LinkedIn and we have a lot of international people who are following the show. They may hear what you're saying and say, how do I get from my country to yours? How do I get into your program? Because they may be touched by what you're saying and they may know that they need more education, but it may just not exist where they are.
Well, first of all, I've got to say New Zealand loves migrants. This government is just opening up its arms and sort of saying come, which is fabulous. It really is. And we have lots of programs to help people upskill their knowledge. We have lots of little short ones which are on our website, and we have the longer ones which will allow people to come in and work in New Zealand. And of course, working in New Zealand has a lot of benefits, apart from the fact we're a beautiful country and really nice people. I hope we're nice people. It is really good pay and really good conditions, and the care homes that they could work in are, on the whole, generally really beautiful. But we've got the particular program. It's called our hybrid, and we're the only ones in New Zealand who deliver this, who've been approved to deliver this at the moment, and they can do their theory offshore online with a lecturer. That they're allocated to a class. They have students with them. And they go to a webinar once a week and mix with these students as a Zoom webinar. And so they are a class, and then they come into New Zealand on a visitor's visa, and they do 11 weeks internship, which we organise for them, and it could be anywhere in New Zealand. And their visitor's visa, we hope, is long enough that they can then, once they finish their program, can go on and get employment. Now, it is working. We've had the first people come in only a couple of months ago. They've all found employment and they're doing really, really well. So these are people who just wanted to stay home for a while, get their lives organised, the money they needed. And so therefore the hybrid gives them that opportunity. And we, of course, have the traditional face-to-face where they can come in and go into our classrooms. And we're only small. We're a very intimate, very friendly campus. We don't need to be large because all of our domestic students are all online. We went online before COVID, so, we're sort of pretty good at that now. So we provide extensive pastoral care because, we're coming from heart. We're doing this because we are passionate about our caring. Kalandra is my two daughters' names, Kelly and Alexandra. And Alex is a nurse as well as myself, and Kelly is an expert in tertiary education management. So beautiful combination. So that when you come into New Zealand or you send your children to us, that they become part of our family and we do look after them. And if you're online and you've got problems, you're still part of our family. We still look after you as much as we possibly can.
Yes, Dr. Christine, and I feel it. I really do. If you just go on your website, if you have that very warm and welcoming presence, and for the time that I have known you and your team, you have always been so warm and welcoming. I want, I'm so passionate about this, what you're doing, because as you know, right now in the United States, that so many people from different countries. I have nurses reaching out to me. They're from different parts of the world, and they are nurses. They are registered nurses. They do have the education, but they just don't have the opportunity to find work or find work that's going to pay them sustainably. Actually, I know some nurses, they were without work for a long time. So some of them, where there is actually an abundance of nurses without jobs, they may want to do your program. They may want a different experience. They may want a different opportunity to see how someone else cares. And then the pay is very good. I know a lot of times people from different countries come to the United States. Maybe they were a physician in their country and they come to the United States and they work as nurses. They become nurses. So it, I'm just, I'm not a career coach, but I am bringing valuable resources visible to people around the world. And I think your program is a very valuable program, and it may not be for everyone, but someone who is a nurse and they are financially or strapped, or they would like to invest so that they can have expanded opportunities. Would you say there is benefit to taking your program?
Oh, absolutely. Look, New Zealand is very particular about the nursing training they recognise to allow you to work as a nurse. And I hate to denigrate nurses. I am a nurse. My daughter is a nurse. Nurses have such valuable skills, such valuable knowledge. We have a number of nurses, especially from the Philippines, who weren't able to be acknowledged for various reasons. And I went and met with them the other day and sort of said to them, are you learning anything, or is it just repetition for you? Are we insulting you? Because I would hate that. And they were actually really surprised at my question and said no, that they had learned so much, that our program had provided such interesting knowledge. And one of them said that she was from the Philippines, that she now understands what was happening with her auntie. They don't teach about dementia in Asia at all. Very, very little of it. And her auntie obviously had dementia because she sort of said that explains the behaviour. So now we won't lock her in her room anymore because I've told my family what they need to do. And I was thinking, wow, we've already achieved something pretty cool for that family. So they don't feel insulted. They enjoy their roles when they go out to clinical because they are going out as a student on level 4 program, which in New Zealand, level 4 is that qualified tradesperson. It's that qualified electrician, the plumber, and we hold them in very high esteem. We hold our healthcare assistant in very high esteem now. It's recognised by pay. So once they qualify, they're on really good money, and the international person works for 2 years as a level 4 and then is allowed to apply for permanent residency. Now, that's the pathway, because then they can go on and do a degree at New Zealand rates, not international rates. So if they wanted to go back and redo a degree in nursing, they would only pay $30,000 New Zealand rates instead of $100,000 international rates. So, what we say is you come and do level 4, work for 2 years, get really good money, do a degree, any sort of degree, doesn't matter, once you get your permanent residency. Carry on working part-time during that degree as your healthcare assistant because it's really good money still. And then you've really set yourself up and your family up really well in our country. So, yeah, our programs are perfect with a registered nurse. We have level 5s, which are acknowledged just exactly the same way for the ones who have some previous knowledge and perhaps dementia, palliative care, rehabilitation, divisional therapy. Do you know the world, Asia doesn't even know about divisional therapy, which is, the games and the stimulation you give to people who are slowly declining. Yeah. So we're trying to make people aware of this as a career opportunity, just chucking that in there. So, your registered nurse might actually like to go into that side of it for a change or broaden into mental health if they went there, because New Zealand really does need a lot of mental health help like the rest of the world. So there's lots of career opportunities for that.
This is just wonderful. I really, when you told me how much they get paid, I was like, whoa, because I had to look at the conversion. I was like, that's more than I make as a nurse. I'm like, that's wonderful. I mean, every education, and when you talk about any type of specialized education, you have to pay, but you also have to look at the return on investment. I was talking to some nurses, and in their country, they pay a lot of money to go through nursing school. But when they finish, how much are you getting paid? Let's talk about financial education here. How much are you getting paid for your skills? Yes, you have the title, but do you have a job? And are you getting compensated? So I'm not telling anyone what decision to make, but I'm just putting it out there. I think it's a pretty good program. I do have a final question for you. As you are getting Kalandra out there, so we may have some university professors, we may have some hospital administrators, business leaders. They may be watching this and they may really want to, like you said, provide a higher care, because in the United States, the long-term care, sometimes the people working in long-term care, unfortunately, they're least paid, and they are worked to the max. So maybe someone is looking at this and they want to revolutionize this and really do a better experience. What would you say? What would you share if you could just share one powerful message with these investors? What would you share with them about why investing in quality geriatric services is not just necessary, but it's actually going to be transformational?
I'm actually going to say two things. One is a question for that person, and it is, if your mum or dad was in aged care, for whatever reason they had to be there, how would you want them cared for?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's like they're being cared for at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is I'll share something that we are doing currently in Vietnam. Well, we're about to enter into Vietnam, where an organisation there is going to change their resorts into aged care villages, and they are going to work with us, where we'll provide training for all their staff to New Zealand standard. And they're going to work with another organisation we're very close with in New Zealand that is a large aged care provider in New Zealand, and they will consult with them about how to change their resorts into villages, but also about giving them all the quality service manuals, the policies and things to be at New Zealand standard. Once they achieve once they've done that with this organisation and their staff have been trained to New Zealand standards, so not getting the New Zealand qualification, because that involves a great deal about coming into New Zealand, but to the standard, then they're going to be allowed to become a member of the New Zealand Aged Care Association, which means they can use that for a marketing tool. But people know that, New Zealand has got lots of connotations, just that word, and that is an incredibly powerful brand tool, isn't it? To be able to say that. And it means that they are giving recognition to their staff. They are holding them in higher esteem because their staff are going to be absolutely amazing, and the staff are going to feel valued, rewarded, and therefore be more reliable. They should, you know, we've got homes here we work with, and they've got a waiting list for people to work there, which is actually
Absolutely.
amazing. That's what any employer wants. Retain your staff, which actually in the end, of course, lessens the cost of training,
Mhm.
increases your trust, doesn't it? It will actually decrease costs, even if they have increased costs initially to get them to that standard. So let's increase recognition. Let's give them the respect they need.
I love this. And this is something that is about to take off. I think you're ahead of the times because I know over here for the United States, there are many nurse practitioners who are coming out of the system and they want to do something different. And a lot of investors are talking about care homes. And this is something that they want to provide a very, very high standard of care for the elderly. And I would love to be an ambassador. I would love to be a facilitator for around the world having this high standard because this is just me being passionate, but I think if maybe not everyone at first can afford this high level, but I think when we elevate the level, even the what was bottom elevates when you have something a little bit
Yes,
higher to reach for. And I
advance.
think, oh, this is beautiful. I think you're pulling the entire world up with you even though
Couldn't-
not everyone can afford it. It's going in an upward trajectory.
That's what we're hoping for.
I love it. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for putting together this beautiful educational program and opening it up for all around the world. I know your heart is very passionate for just the countries that don't have it. And I'm just so happy to see the growth of Kalandra. If you're listening in, audience, and I asked her all of my questions, but I know you have some questions to Dr. Christine. Please leave it in the comments below. I would love to put you in touch with this beautiful woman and her awesome team in New Zealand. If you are a healthcare worker and you want to make the pivot or you want to find out more information, definitely I would leave the links to Kalandra in the description below. Do you have any final words, Dr. Christine, for our viewers or anyone who's looking at our stream today?
Final words. Casey, I just think you're amazing, and I really love what you are doing as well. And I believe that we were meant to meet all those months ago. And
Yay.
together, let's really impact caring around the world. It'd just be amazing. And, we both love our mums, and mine is past, but I can still keep her memory alive by, her name was Billy. I can still keep her memory alive by doing what we're doing. So let's look after our mums and our dads and improve life.
So lovely. Thank you so much for being a guest, Dr. Christine. And thank you, viewers, for tuning in with us. We will see you next time on Meet the Experts. Thank you.